Welcome to the Before AGI podcast. We're doing a deep dive today into how AI is reshaping what it means to be human.
Yeah.
We're talking identity, ethics, even the future of work itself.
Absolutely.
We've got a stack of articles,
Yeah.
research, and some seriously thought-provoking pieces to unpack today.
I think these sources are fascinating because they're not just theoretical, they're grounded in real-world examples, like AI bias in hiring or the rise of digital companions. So it's all about understanding how AI changes the game and what that means for us.
Let's talk about AI bias right from the get-go.
Okay.
We hear this term thrown around a lot, but what are the real-world implications for someone like navigating the tech world?
Well, think about it this way.
Yeah.
You're applying for a job. And AI is screening your resume.
Right.
On the surface, it seems objective, but what if that AI was trained on data that reflects existing biases?
Right.
It might unknowingly penalize you for factors beyond your control.
Yeah.
Perpetuating inequalities that we're trying to overcome.
That's a bit unsettling, to say the least. Makes you wonder if you've ever been on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
So how do we even begin to address this?
Right.
Isn't AI supposed to be this neutral, unbiased force?
That's the misconception, right? AI is only as good as the data it's trained on.
Right.
And one of our sources, Zen Data,
Okay.
is tackling this head-on. They're developing tools that help identify and mitigate bias in algorithms. So it's like having a quality control system for AI,
Okay.
ensuring fairness is baked into the core.
So it's like having a watchdog to make sure the AI is playing fair.
Exactly.
But how does Zen Data actually do that?
They use some pretty sophisticated techniques. One is explainability,
Okay.
which means making the AI's decision-making process transparent. So think of it like a trail of breadcrumbs. You can see how the AI arrived at a particular conclusion, making it easier to spot and correct any biases.
That makes sense. If you can see the logic, you can catch the flaws.
Right.
But AI's impact on identity goes beyond just bias, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing this whole emergence of digital identities and AI companions, which feels like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It's becoming our reality faster than we realize.
It really is.
Think about all the data we generate online.
Mm-hmm.
Our social media profiles, our browsing history, even our online shopping habits. It all contributes to a digital representation of ourselves.
Yeah.
A digital identity that's becoming increasingly intertwined with our real-world selves.
It's like we're leaving digital footprints everywhere we go online.
Exactly.
And now we have AI companions.
Yeah.
Virtual beings we can interact with and even form emotional bonds with.
Right.
Where do you see this heading? Is it ultimately beneficial or potentially harmful?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, right?
Okay.
On the one hand, AI companions can offer companionship, support, even personalized learning experiences.
Right.
But there are ethical concerns like data privacy, the potential for manipulation,
Of course.
and the risk of unhealthy emotional dependence.
Yeah.
So we're venturing into uncharted territory, and we need to tread carefully.
It's like opening Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Exciting possibilities, but with potential risks we can't fully foresee.
Exactly.
One of the articles highlighted this concept of adaptive authentication. So instead of passwords, AI analyzes our behavior to grant access.
Right.
Convenient or creepy? I'm not sure.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
It's convenient because remembering dozens of passwords is a pain.
Oh, for sure.
But imagine AI constantly monitoring how you type,
Yeah.
where you log in from.
Yeah.
It's like having an invisible security guard scrutinizing your every move.
It is.
And it raises serious questions about privacy and how much control we're willing to surrender for convenience.
Exactly. It's almost like a trade-off between security and freedom.
Right.
And this brings us to the consulting industry. One of our sources really dove into how AI is shaking things up there.
Yeah.
It's a prime example of AI challenging professional identity, isn't it?
Absolutely. Consultants are knowledge workers. Their expertise is their currency.
Right.
But AI is increasingly able to automate tasks, analyze data, and offer insights that were once the domain of human consultants.
Right.
So it's forcing them to redefine their roles and adapt to a new landscape.
It's like the ground is shifting beneath their feet.
It is.
Some consultants are embracing AI, seeing it as a tool to enhance their capabilities, but others fear becoming obsolete, replaced by algorithms.
Yeah.
How do you see this playing out?
It's a classic case of disruption, right? Some roles will inevitably become automated.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the end of consulting.
Right.
The key is to adapt. Those who embrace AI learn new skills, and focus on the uniquely human aspects of consulting, creativity, empathy, complex problem solving will thrive.
So it's not about AI versus humans, but about finding ways to work together.
Exactly.
To leverage AI's strengths while emphasizing our own.
Right. It's about recognizing that AI is a tool, a powerful one, but still a tool.
Yeah.
It's up to us to use it wisely.
Right.
And ensure it serves human needs, not the other way around.
And speaking of AI shaping our world, that brings us to the echo chamber effect, which sounds like something out of a dystopian novel.
Yeah.
But from what I'm gathering from these sources, it's a very real concern.
It is, and it's closely tied to the issue of AI bias we talked about earlier. Imagine an AI trained on a data set that's already skewed, let's say, politically.
Right.
It might start generating content that simply reinforces those existing biases, creating a feedback loop where certain viewpoints become amplified while others get drowned out.
So it's not just that AI might be biased itself, but that it can actually create echo chambers.
Exactly.
Trapping us in these bubbles where we're only exposed to information that confirms what we already believe.
Yeah, and this is particularly concerning in the age of social media,
Right.
where algorithms are already tailoring our feeds to our preferences.
Yeah.
Now imagine AI-generated content flooding these platforms, further narrowing our perspectives and making it harder to engage in meaningful dialogue with those who hold different views.
It's almost like we're all living in our own little curated worlds, insulated from any information that might challenge our preconceived notions.
Yeah.
One of the sources used this term model collapse to describe this phenomenon. Can you explain that a bit more?
Model collapse is what happens when AI is trained on AI-generated content.
Okay.
It's like a game of telephone.
Yeah.
With each repetition, the message gets more distorted.
Right.
As AI generates more content based on its own output. It can become less diverse, less accurate, and ultimately less helpful.
It's like a hall of mirrors, AI reflecting back on itself, creating this distorted reality. And if we're not careful, we could end up in a world where it becomes increasingly difficult to discern truth from fiction.
That's the danger. Imagine a scenario where news articles, social media posts, even political speeches are being generated by AI. Right. All based on a limited and potentially biased data set. It could erode our trust in information and make it harder to have informed discussions about important issues.
One of our sources actually drew a parallel to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which was a wake-up call about how data can be used to manipulate people.
Right.
How does that tie into this discussion about AI and echo chambers?
The Cambridge Analytica scandal showed how personal data can be weaponized to influence behavior.
Right.
Now imagine AI being used to analyze vast amounts of data, not just to target ads, but to craft personalized messages that exploit our biases and vulnerabilities. It's a chilling thought.
It's like the ultimate form of manipulation, using AI to play on our fears and desires to shape our opinions without us even realizing it.
Right.
It feels like we're entering a new era of information warfare where the battleground is our minds.
And that's why it's so crucial to have these conversations now, before we're fully immersed in this AI-driven world.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of the potential risks, demand transparency from developers, and push for ethical guidelines that protect us from manipulation.
It's not about being anti-AI.
Right.
It's about being pro-humanity. We need to make sure that AI serves our best interests.
Yeah.
That it enhances our lives rather than diminishes them.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right balance.
Yeah.
Embracing AI's potential while mitigating the risks.
Right.
It's about shaping the future of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Yeah.
Not just a select few.
So we've covered a lot of ground. AI bias, echo chambers, future of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
A lot to think about.
And now, as promised, we're going to dive into some deep philosophical waters. Because AI isn't just changing our world, it's making us question what it means to be human.
Right. Like it's forcing us to confront some pretty age-old philosophical questions.
Yeah.
What is consciousness?
Right.
What is free will? What does it mean to have an identity? These questions have puzzled philosophers for centuries, but AI is giving them a whole new urgency.
One of the articles we're diving into asks this pretty provocative question. If AI can analyze our data, predict our behavior, even potentially know us better than we know ourselves, does that change who we are?
It's a really interesting question.
It's a bit mind-bending, isn't it?
It is, yeah. If our identity is shaped by our experiences and choices and self-perception, then how does AI fit into that equation?
Right.
If AI is influencing our decisions, shaping our online experiences, even predicting our emotions, are we still truly in control of our own identities?
It's like AI is becoming this digital mirror, reflecting back to us a version of ourselves that we may not even recognize. But is that reflection accurate, or is it a distorted image based on algorithms and data points?
That's the heart of the debate, right?
Yeah.
Some argue that AI can help us become more self-aware, to understand our biases and motivations better than we ever could on our own. But others worry that AI could limit our choices, nudge us down predetermined paths, and ultimately erode our sense of free will.
It's almost like a choose-your-own-adventure story, but the AI is subtly influencing which path we choose.
Right.
And then there's this whole question of AI companions. People are forming real emotional bonds with these virtual beings.
Yeah.
Does that change our understanding of relationships and connection?
It's definitely blurring the lines.
Yeah.
On one hand, AI companions can offer companionship, support, even a sense of belonging, especially for those who might be isolated or lonely.
Right.
But can a relationship with an AI ever truly replace human connection?
Right.
Does it fulfill the same needs, offer the same depth of emotional intimacy?
It raises a lot of questions about what we value in relationships, what we seek from human connection.
Yeah.
And as AI becomes more sophisticated, those questions are only going to get more complex.
Absolutely. We're venturing into uncharted territory. There's no roadmap. No clear answers, but that's what makes this so fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
We're grappling with fundamental questions about what it means to be human in an age where the lines between human and machine are becoming increasingly blurred.
It's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity.
Yeah.
An opportunity to re-examine our values, to define what's truly important to us, and to shape the future of AI in a way that aligns with our vision of a better world.
And that's where human responsibility comes in. We can't simply be passive observers.
Right.
We need to be active participants in this conversation, demanding transparency, ethical guidelines, and a human-centered approach to AI development.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question. What does it mean to you to be human in the age of AI? It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely. And if this conversation has sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to dive deeper. Subscribe to the Before AGI podcast for more explorations into the fascinating world of AI.
And for practical tutorials and insights, check out my YouTube channel, Ian AI. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and stay human.